Hello everybody, welcome back to Instant Release, and quick video today. I don't want to spend too much of your time talking about the Olympus E-M10 Mark II. So, very briefly, I talked about the E-M10 Mark II at the end of the EM5 Mark II with this XT1 video that I made a couple of months back. I recommended it because I saw the spec sheet, I saw that the camera was way cheaper than the EM5 Mark II, and I thought, yeah, let's recommend it. It's just basically the cheaper, smaller version of the EM5. I was a bit wrong on that one, but I never used any EM10 camera in my life at this point, so I felt that it was a good thing to do. Turns out it was not, and I got myself an EM10 Mark II a couple of months ago for very cheap price actually, because the screen in the back was dead, but I was unaware of that. I fixed the camera by getting another broken EM10 Mark II, which I paid for 40 bucks, and now I have a fully functional EM10 Mark II, which I've been able to review, and now I use it as my EDC camera mostly with that 20mm f1.7 lens. So without further ado, let's get into talking about what the EM10 Mark II is, mostly in relation to the EM5 Mark II, I'll admit, but still, I want to talk about the EM10 and what it is and how good of a value that camera is, because it really is a great value in my opinion. So yeah, first of all, the difference in specs compared to the EM5 Mark II are pretty minor, which, considering the price difference of these two cameras, is pretty nuts, I would say. You have the same sensor, which is good, you have the same processor, you have the same autofocus, you have the same kind of feature level, I would say. You have 5-axis IBIS, a good viewfinder, great Wi-Fi connectivity, and a great app to use with that. You have all of your computational modes for low light shooting, like live composite, live bulb, lifetime, and everything. Olympus did a bit of a sneaky one, and they wanted to have some product segmentation, I guess, so they removed the pixel shift that the EM5 Mark II has. They removed that from the EM10, which is a bit of a bummer, but I guess I never really used it on the EM5. I'm sure that some people did, and for those people that's a bit of a bummer on the EM10 Mark II, but I mean, for the vast majority of people, I'm not sure that this is that much of a problem. Another market segmentation thing is the burst rate. The M5 can do 5 frames per second with continuous autofocus, whereas these can do 4.5. Okay, not much of a difference, especially if you use with these contrast detection system, especially if you use like focus priority for the release. You will never get 5 frames per second with these systems, and you want to use these systems because otherwise you will have a lot of out of focus shots. So not having 5 frames per second but only 4.5, to me that's not that big of a problem. Same thing for the locked focus, which can go only up to 8.5 frames per second, when the EM5 Mark II can go up to 10 frames per second. Again, not that much of a difference, and also the usefulness of a locked focus burst rate is a bit limited. I will say that much. That's pretty much the main differences there are between the EM5 Mark II and the EM10 Mark II. Everything else, well, it's just a matter of body design and ergonomics and which button is missing and which one isn't. That's basically the gist of it. So, if we talk about the body itself, well, I was expecting the EM10 Mark II to be a lot lighter than the EM5 Mark II and maybe a little bit smaller. Well, it turns out it's neither of those things. It's about the same weight and it's about the same size as well. It's not a small camera compared to the EM5 Mark II. It's a small camera in the grand scheme of things, but in the Olympus range, it's not necessarily a very small camera. There are a lot of pen cameras that are much smaller than the EM10 Mark II, and this is something that you really feel in the hand. Like, this is a pretty dense I'm not going to say that word, but yeah, it feels pretty dense. It's it's mostly plastic on the inside. The top and bottom are metal, but absolutely not the same level of quality that you have with the EM5 Mark II. And you can really feel that. You have a bit of rubberized plastic in the front to mimic leather, but the leatherette-shaped hard plastic thumb rest gives away the fact that this is more of an entry-level mid-range camera than anything else. So yeah, this is something to keep in mind. This is absolutely not something that you would find in the EM5, which is very tight in everything that it has, from the buttons to the rubberized thumb rest and everything. This is much more solidly built camera, and I mean that makes sense, right? They were completely different, like, product segments in terms of pricing and everything. So in my opinion, it makes sense. It compensates a little bit for that for stuff like pop-up flashes. The pop-up flash is pretty damn useful, I will say. I have grown, unaccustomed, I would say, to the flash on the camera itself, because I've been using cameras that don't have a pop-up flash for so long that I actually can't really get myself used to that. But then I started using the X100S a lot more, which has a integrated flash, and then I started really appreciating the fact that on some cameras you have an integrated flash, and it's very, very useful. That's the case on my Lumix D3 as well. That's the case on my Nikon D700, surprisingly. And yeah, these pop flashes are super practical for stuff like freezing the action. In low light, you have that point and shoot aesthetic, which, I mean, apparently is all the buzz on the social media platforms right now. This is something that the EM10 Mark II can do, and honestly, it does it pretty well. So I'm absolutely not bothered by that at all. The only compromise that it brings is that you have a smaller EVF because of it. But I mean, honestly, the EVF is fine. It's a bit small, but it's OLED, which is an advantage compared to the EM5 Mark II. But both are the same resolution and refresh rate. They're both 60 Hz panels, so I guess it's fine. One of the bigger differences between the EM10 Mark II and the EM5 Mark II is the fact that the screen in the back is not fully articulated. It's just a regular tilt screen, which works fine, I guess, if you don't do video, which I would not recommend that you do video with that camera. It's fine. There is honestly no issues with it. I never really had a problem with it. The only small niggle that I have with it is that I love to do a lot of vertical shooting, and the full articulating screen on the EM5 really made me used to have like a good vertical articulation, which I don't have on this camera. Not the end of the world, I know, but just a little bit of things I thought I would mention. What are the other things compared to the EM5 that I could mention that are technically downgrade but inconsequential? Well, one of those things would be the battery, I guess. It's both a downside and an advantage. Let me explain. The EM5 uses the older BLN1 battery, which has more capacity than the BLS5 or BLS50 battery than is being used in the EM10. However, while the BLN1 has been out of production for some years now, the BLS50 is still in use in a lot of Olympus or OM system cameras, and even in like the very latest OM5 Mark II. So if you want to find new batteries for the EM10 Mark II, you still can, while with the EM5 Mark II you can't. And when it comes to the downside that it has, yes, it's a bit smaller, but it's such a close match. I don't remember the capacity of the BLN1. The BLN1, official one at least, is 9.3 watt-hours, and this one is 8.5. Is that big of a deal? Honestly, no, probably not. If you carry around a couple of spares with the EM5, you will probably carry around a couple of spares with the EM10 as well. And there is not really a camera that will have a substantially better battery life between those two. So, to me, it's a bit of a non-issue, but you have a battery that is still in production. So that's another kind of small advantage, I guess. But yeah, to me, the biggest thing about the EM10 Mark II is not really the features or how it feels in the hand or stuff like that. These things are generally common across a whole range of Olympus cameras, and it's not something that matters too much. Like, you pick one model, you're going to get a similar amount of features and stuff like that. So that's not really something to talk about. No, the main important thing about the EM10 Mark II is the price and what came before and what came after. Because if you compare, in the EM10 line of cameras, I guess we can add the EM5 line of cameras as well. The EM10 Mark II is probably the sweet spot when it comes to price, to features, to performance. Because if we look at what came before, like the EM5 Mark I and the EM10 Mark I, those cameras are lacking a ton of things. The EM5 lacks the electronic shutter, has a shit EVF, only 1.44 million dots, really not good. It does not have Wi-Fi of any kind, and the computational features are limited. You only have lifetime and live bulb. That's it. The EM10 Mark I had the Wi-Fi and live composite and stuff like that, but was limited in other ways. It ditched the 5-axis IBIS for 3-axis IBIS, which is quite a bit worse. You still have that shit EVF and you have no weather sealing. Then you have the EM10 Mark II, which, you had a pretty decent 2.36 million dot EVF, 5-axis IBIS, all the Wi-Fi and computational features that you would want, and price-wise, it's not really much more expensive than in EM10 Mark I or even an EM5 Mark I. If you can get an EM5 Mark I for $170, $180, same thing for the EM10 Mark I. EM10 Mark II, maybe $200. For like 10 to 20 bucks more, you can get a camera that, in my opinion, is much more usable. That's something to keep in mind. Then when you look at what came after, or what is more expensive in price, you have the EM5 Mark II, which is considerably more expensive and actually very close in terms of features and performance, because it has the same sensor, same processor, same autofocus, basically the same burst rate. Video is very similar, even though I wouldn't do it with the EM10 Mark II. No mic jack and everything. And yeah, you don't have the weather sealing, and you don't have this, but that's about it. The sun decided to came out of nowhere. I can't change anything. Oh yeah, I can. Wait a minute. I will close my lens a little bit because, yeah, the sun decided to come out. It was grey all day, rainy all day, and the moment I sit down to record a video, yeah, that's the moment that the sun comes out. Fuck me, I guess. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the EM10 Mark III that comes after the EM10 Mark II. Well, you still have that 16 megapixel sensor. You have a slightly faster processor, that means slightly faster point-to-point autofocus when it comes to single point. But continuous autofocus is still kind of shit because you are still within contrast detection only, which is a bit of a problem. And the sun is going away, so I'm going to open my lens again. Anyway, the main thing is that the EM10 Mark III does not add a ton more besides 4K video, which I would never use. Not on an EM10 body at least, because it lacks the microphone port and everything that would make it usable for anything else than casual video, and for casual video you don't need 4K. But whatever. And a lot of people complained about a lot of things that were removed from the EM10 Mark II. Things that were more appealing to people that had a bit more experience with cameras. Typically, silent shooting, electronic shutter on the EM10 Mark II is present in the menus, like every other shooting mode. Like, you have your anti-shock, like the electronic front curtain, fully mechanical shutter, and you had your electronic shutter. Well, not in the EM10 Mark III. It's now into a scene mode, sets like silent shooting and everything. You cannot use electronic shooting mode in P, A, S, and M modes, which is a bit of a bummer. And also, the EM10 Mark III is made out of plastic for top and bottom plates. The EM10 Mark II is made out of metal, so that's a bit more premium feeling, I guess. It's a bit inconsequential again, because, I mean, the camera is not weather sealed and it's not really that well protected against falls and everything, but I mean, I guess if people like to have a metal camera, they want to have a metal camera. I'm not one to judge, but yeah, the people were not really that warm again for the EM10 Mark III, and the EM10 Mark II is considered to be a better camera overall. So I guess considering you're spending much more for the EM10 Mark III compared to the EM10 Mark II, I mean, that makes the EM10 Mark II a bit of a sweet spot when it comes to value. I don't know. One thing for sure, that the EM10 Mark II compared to the price is a damn good camera, and I'm really happy that I got one. I didn't plan to get one, honestly, but it's a damn good everyday carry, and I've had some nice shots with it. I'm really happy overall on the image quality that this camera is able to get. I will say though, I have got a lens recently, a Mark 4 third lens, which is that little puppy. This is a 75-300, and let me tell you, this lens is not stabilized. This is an Olympus lens. They rely almost exclusively on the IBIS in their cameras. It goes very well in the EM5 Mark II because the IBIS is better. In the EM10 Mark II, it's a little bit of a struggle bus with the stabilization, and the sun is coming out again. I think it's the right moment for me to say thank you for watching. That was about everything I wanted to say about the EM10 Mark II. It's a great camera, great price, basically the sweet spot in Mark 4 thirds, and I wish I knew that camera was that good sooner, because probably wouldn't have bought an EM5 Mark II if I knew. Anyway, that's not my point. The thing I want to say here is that yeah, I hope this video wasn't too long. I have other cameras to review, which hopefully will come somewhere during the summer. Hopefully in August. If not, we'll see ourselves in September. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. And take care of yourselves during the summer. Don't stay too long in the sun, and hydrate. Hydrate would be the word of the end. See ya.